Hello, Melissa Crook here. I'm the host here at the Field Podcast. Welcome to today's episode, Self-Care, Boundaries, and Honoring Your Energy with Amy Donovan. The ways to engage with today's episode are as follows. What are things you like about yourself? Not what you don't like, but what you can truly appreciate about yourself. Start with character traits. Do you like that you're empathetic or funny or patient? What do you like about yourself physically? Your eyes, your nose, your fingers, your face, your cheeks. You see what I mean? Build your confidence and focus on the good rather than picking apart the things you don't like. We hope this gives you some really intentional, thoughtful ways to engage with today's episode with our friend Amy Donovan. Thanks so much for being with us. Hello, and welcome back to the Field Podcast this week. I'm so happy to have a friend here that I forget she hasn't been on the podcast yet because she's been a panelist with us both on the radio show and on our Together We Feel YouTube panels several times the last few months, which has been wonderful because she's got so much wisdom and insight in her story that's going to be so helpful and supportive to women out there. So I'm excited to share Amy Donovan with you today. Amy she's one of those people that I met and I knew right away, yep, she needs to be a part of this conversation. So I'm super excited to bring her over to the podcast side. Amy describes herself as a good dreamer, but not always a great executor, an oversharer, an open book, operates at an 8, and a complete empath, which is a blessing and a curse, as those of us that are living with empaths or are empaths know. She's quick-witted, can be quick-tempered, and she says she's pretty much quick at everything except for physical activity, which, hey, it's not about the speed. It's not about the speed. It's good to slow down sometimes. Amy Donovan, welcome to the Field Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so glad to have you. Okay, my friend, tell me about your journey with prioritizing self-care in your life. What has that looked like for you over time?
I think through all the different phases of everyone's life, self-care changes. Mm-hmm. And currently I'm a mom of the youngest child I have at home is 17. And as you know, from the phone call that I just took before we recorded, that's quite busy. There's the constant list of errands that somebody else needs to do. And there's still, the house to maintain, the family unit to look after, all of the animals need feeding. It's just, life is busy no matter the phase that you're in. And it's really important that we take the time to actually look after ourselves as well as we're looking after everybody else, because if not, we get resentful. And personally, my 8 goes to a 10 real quick. If I do not take the time and spend the energy to do what it is that I need to do for me to make me feel better about me and just feel like myself.
Yeah.
And that I'm a priority as well.
Yeah. How long did it take you to figure that out?
I'm going to tell you, I was a grown-up, and a well-minted grown-up at that. Probably it's been a process over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Up until then, my stepkids were still at home. They were 10 and 5 when I met them. And they're 31 and 26 now. So I feel like I've always been in the process of raising kids. Mm-hmm. And at a very young age, my grandmother came to live with me, and she actually came to university with me, and she had Alzheimer's. So I was a caregiver then as well. So everything always has been about somebody else.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know when the switch occurred. I think I was probably at a hair appointment and I was like, you know what? I feel much better about myself when this is done. Like, I'm a better person when I go home. And I'm definitely not high maintenance, but taking the time to actually go and, see to having my roots taken care of, to take the time to go get my nails done. I do a lot of talking and I'm on social media quite a bit. And I'm not afraid to show up with my hair not done. I'm not afraid to show up with my nails not done.
Mhm.
But I just know that I feel better about myself when I do it. And
Mm.
feeling better about myself isn't necessarily physical. It's like actually just taking the time to breathe and go and do what it is that you need to do.
Yeah, I love that. That take the time to breathe and go at it, do it what you need to do. Because you said something so important. I'm not high maintenance, and self care is not a high maintenance thing. It's exactly what you said. It's taking the time to do that thing you need to do that helps you feel refreshed, that helps you not go from an 8 to 10 in a nanosecond because you've got nothing left to give and somebody else has asked something of you out of that empty cup. So that's just such a great example of that. Thank you so much. All right. Talk to me about confidently setting boundaries in your life. What has your boundaries journey been like? As you've, for many years, we talked about this before, is we didn't even know that those existed. Like those were not even a thing that was talked about. We get the script when we're little girls of how we're supposed to show up and how we're supposed to take care of everybody else first. And there's no mention of setting boundaries and making time for yourself. That's considered selfish, or at least that's the script that we're given early on. And that was very much a script that you got too. You talked about all those
Absolutely.
years, of caregiving. So talk to me about that moment or in time span where there was a realization, I need to set some healthy boundaries during my time. You're very busy. You've got your own business that you run that takes time. You have to see clients and decide who it is and is not that you're going to serve. That requires some boundaries setting in terms of that. You've got your family time and then the time for you. So talk to me about how this has evolved for you.
It also, I was a very, very well minted adult before I was in a position where I felt confident setting boundaries.
Mhm.
And most times, and with the people that I speak to, the women that I talk to, the biggest boundaries that we tend to need to set sometimes are with our family, which makes it the
Yeah.
most awkward.
Yeah.
Especially like the extended family, like the
Mhm.
siblings and
Mhm.
parents. And I'm not speaking to one specific person here or a specific
Mhm.
example to me. Um, but it's the people that we come into the world program that we need to be the nicest to and give the most time to, and always make sure that they are cared for and looked after and da 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 da.
Mhm.
So when we push back and say, no, I'm really sorry, I don't have time to watch your kids, or, I can't dog sit for 2 weeks while you go to Bora Bora,
Mhm.
or, I don't have time, space, or energy for that. Um, I know when I started doing it, I was met with pushback in like the
Mm.
face. And then, the call from someone else in the family that was like, well, why can't you do that? Like, and
Mm.
the trying to problem solve and trying to like figure out a workaround, or, all of the
Mhm.
things. And then eventually just saying, listen, I have my own life and all of these things. And this is where I draw the line, and I don't have time to do that. And what I find is, and this I've come to this from conversations that I've had with other people, is that it is the people who ask the most of you who offer up the least to you.
Mm,
So,
yeah.
and that's where the boundaries need to come in, because
Mhm.
if you have like a symbiotic tit for tat, like sharing, I will do this for you, and not to keep score. Like, I don't
Right.
want to keep score, but you also want to feel like you are supporting somebody who is willing to support you.
Exactly.
And
There's balance in the relationship.
yeah, like you're pouring back and forth between the cup. Um,
Absolutely.
and when somebody is not offering that to you or bringing it to you in the relationship, it's okay to say, hey, I love you and care about you. And, I think you're great, but I don't have the time, energy, or resources to take care of what you're asking me to take care of right now. Like,
Yeah.
maybe the next time we can revisit it.
Mhm.
But for right now, it's now. No, it's a no. And it took me a long time to get to be able to say that.
Mm,
And
yeah.
even with clients, I will have somebody contact me in early days in your business. You just kind of are programmed to serve everybody,
Yeah.
because like, if you say no, is there somebody else going to knock on the doors, or somebody else going to call,
Sure.
will somebody else email? Like, will the business dry up? Is the universe going to say, oh no, she's closed for business, she doesn't want me? And now I can tell by the tone of the original email when somebody messages me if it's somebody that I want to work with. And I just respectfully respond, and then I just never pursue them as a client. It's almost like it's easier to let them go in the beginning and set the expectation that I am not what they're looking for, but there might be somebody who is. And normally this comes down to pricing. Um, I I can't do what you're asking me to do, but there are lots of people who can. And like, I wish you all the best with your whatever it is that you're working on. And I hope that you have a great day. And the first time I did that, I nearly threw up in my mouth. But last night I had to send the same message. Somebody wrote me and told me the price they were willing to pay for my service. And I wrote back and I said, well, it's listed on my website. This is the price for what you're asking for. If that's not within your budget, we can do a custom package and give you less coverage. But unfortunately, I'm not willing to,
Yeah. Well, if you start doing that with one, then you're doing that with everybody, and you've violated your own
boundary. It's not fair to the clients who pay full price. So like,
absolutely. And you know your value, and you know what the work requires. I love that. I thank you for bringing up the family examples too, because there's so much pressure on how we're supposed to show up in family situations, and it's no conversation about what's actually healthy, or if the other side is operating healthy. And so sometimes we have to, and these can be generational kind of things that we have to break up, behaviors that we have to be like, I'm going to go a different direction. This doesn't seem like it served others well, and it's certainly not serving me well. And it doesn't mean I don't love you, and it doesn't mean I love you any less, but I love myself too. And I'm going to guard and protect my time and not give from out of resources that I don't have to give. And those can be really difficult conversations, because when people are used to you showing up a certain way, then they're like, oh. And it's like, nothing's wrong. I just need to make some shifts here. And those can be the most challenging conversations to have, but also knowing your value enough and valuing how you want to show up and how you want to feel. Because like that has to take priority. And it can take, as you talk about being a well-mentored adult, I know exactly what you mean. Like, I wish I knew how to do all this stuff when I was 22, 23. It did not happen. But hopefully, if we're having these conversations, we both have daughters. They can see how we operate. They can see that we've set these boundaries. They can see the things that we've prioritized. And those examples that's what they'll remember. And they'll go and they'll start their lives that way, rather than having to wait to a point 10, 15, 20 years down the road where they make that decision.
Absolutely. And I think it's so important, and it's a lesson that maybe generation wise people are going to start to understand, because it's like we're programmed from kids to always do and to always accommodate. And I think we're always just programmed to try to accommodate and make allowances. But as our daughters are watching us say, I don't have time for that, I don't have capacity right now. Hopefully they're going to internalize that and see. And I see my daughter say no. Like, I will ask her to do, she does a lot around the house. She's quite helpful. She's a really great baker. She like cooks and does the things. And then, but I know that when I've asked her too much, she's just going to be like, no, like, just no.
Yeah.
And I think she learned that from my sister, because my sister has always known how to do that. Like, for her, no has always been a complete sentence. I over apologize and make, not excuses, but I feel like I need to over explain why I'm not going to do things. There's always like, it almost sounds like I'm making up why I'm not doing it, because there's such a huge backstory about why I'm just not able to do whatever that specific thing is. And it could be really little, or it could be gigantic, but I just feel so bad not accommodating people when really those people are probably not even going to think about it, and absolutely would not think about telling me no. So just, I'm hoping that she learns to push back in a healthy way and not be disagreeable about all things, but when it's important to say no, that she knows to give herself time and space and energy.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. So good. All right. Talk to me about taking care of your emotional health, mental health, physical health. They're all tied together. They're all intertwined. So talk to me about how I'm trying to think of the right way to words, how you've recognized that in your life, where you've seen those connect points and where it became evident to you that this was all connected, because they're treated in isolation as we've grown up. These aren't things we've heard people talking about putting together. We're just now starting to have those conversations and realize, oh, wait a minute, this is all connected. Talk to me about how that has borne out for you.
So I'm going to use going to the gym as an example. I hate it. Like it makes me go from an 8 to a 10 just driving over. I don't feel accomplished when I leave. I don't feel good about myself while I'm in there. It is not that I am self-conscious. I would take off my clothes and do the activities just as easily as I would in whatever I'm wearing there. It's not that I'm self-conscious. I just don't feel great in that environment. There's no fresh air. There's no sunlight. It's just, so
same. I feel you wholeheartedly. Yeah.
Right. It's just, now my husband loves it, lives for the gym, like doesn't miss a workout. It's his place. And so he has had no problem in the 22 years of our relationship saying, I can't do X, Y, Z, or I will be late to X, Y, Z because I am going to the gym. And it is just completely understood. Now, when he misses going to the gym, if something happens at work or, there's a family emergency and he doesn't get, I can see the impact that makes on his mental health. Like I can watch it happen.
Yeah.
I don't get the same way, but I do get the same way if I just can't get outside. So if I had to spend a whole day in my house or in the gym or just inside, even if that means just going for a drive and keeping the sunroof open or going around the block with my dad, which I admittedly do not do often enough. I just feel like a better person. I feel more accomplished. It's like it allows me to decompress. All of the conversations that I need to be having, I've rehearsed them in my head when I get back.
Yeah.
It gives me time and space to listen to, audiobooks and podcasts and things that I wouldn't take the time to do inside the house.
Yeah.
And then we all know that the more stressed you are, the worse toll that takes on your physical health. And just when everything is coming at you, you always manage to get through it. At the end of it, you're like, oh, that was so much. And then what happens? You end up with the horrendous cold and you're in bed for 2 weeks. And it's the cold came from being stressed. I swear that's where it comes from. I'm not a doctor. I have no papers in the mail on my way to tell me that I'm a doctor. But I know that the more stressed out I am, the more likely I am to just not feel well. And then I'm neither use nor ornament to anybody in my life. I'm not helpful at all to anyone. So I really need to do the things that make me not stressed in order to not be a miserable person, both mentally and physically.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are great examples. I love that because it just shows that tie and that connection and that getting outside piece. And you live in Newfoundland. You don't live in, the desert in Arizona. So the weather is wild. But it's also, getting outside and just getting that, put your coat on, get refreshed. And I'm saying that's if you live in those winter places or places with seasons, people, there's still ways you can find, even just stepping outside on your back patio. And I mean, I will find sometimes just going out and sitting outside and just taking it all in, doing a short walk around the block, but grab your coat, grab your umbrella, find those ways to get outside. It does make a difference. And just that decompression away from the screens, away from the noise is so valuable. Thank you. Thank you so much for that.
Even just a change of environment. So here I don't know, maybe 10% of our days are sunny, and that's not an exaggeration. It is sunny today, and everybody is talking about the fact that it is sunny. It happens so infrequently.
Yeah.
So I can't always count on the weather to be able to change my environment, but sometimes I'm sitting in the studio and I am I would rather be anywhere else. And I love this space.
Mm-hmm.
I also have an office at my house, and I'm sitting in my office at home. Sometimes I just need to get up, go in the car, listen to music while I'm going there, and sit in a coffee shop and do the same work that I would be doing at home.
Yeah.
But because there's different things happening around me, it's like it triggers a different part of my brain. I'm probably not going to speak to the people that are around me. I'll acknowledge them. I'm friendly. But I'm not there to make friends. But just if you change your environment, it changes your mindset.
Yeah.
And I really struggle with that because I spend a lot of time on my computer. So even just sometimes moving the location of the computer makes a huge difference to how I'm feeling about what I'm working on.
Yeah, no, I can relate to that because I work from home and I do my recording from home and I'm set up to do everything from home. So I can be here for days on end, and other than a walk around the block, not leave the neighborhood. I find about 4 or 5 days, 6 days into that, 7 days into that, I can go as long as 7 or 8 days. Like, I need to get out into the world. I need to see something outside of this radius of my neighborhood. Because, and just break things up a little bit. It makes all the difference in the world. I know, like, tomorrow, I've got an appointment this afternoon. I'm going to be out all day tomorrow. And I'm like, okay, good. I need that. It's time. It's been a few days. I've got appointments outside of the house, and I know that I'll come back feeling refreshed in a different way for that. So yeah, I love that change of scenery piece. And I think with so many of us working from home now, or having, you've got your photography studio, which is like your second home, and it's set up like a home, but it's important to remind ourselves to just break up that space. I used to do a thing, started during COVID, when I was working from home for the first time, where I would walk out I'd finish working at the end of the day. I'd get in my car and drive around the block if it was raining, or walk around the block. But the driving, because I would drive to and from my office when I wasn't in COVID, I would drive around the block, and that would, like, my brain would like, oh, she's come back in the garage. She's home from work. Now she's in her home. I mean, even just shifting that mindset makes all the difference in the world. So thank you so much for that. Such a good point there. All right. You do this so well. And this is going to allow you to really talk about where your studio more, and how plays into this, but how we can support ourselves and other women in living unapologetically. This is a journey for all of us. It continues to be a journey for you, but how you have learned and evolved, and the work that you do now is such an integral part of helping other women feel empowered and beautiful and strong and unapologetic. But talk to me about this journey of getting here, because this is not a space that you've always inhabited.
It's not. I grew up never thinking that I was good enough. Never thinking that I was pretty, never, thinking that I was like the popular kid. I was the president of my student council for 2 consecutive years, and I had boatloads of friends, and everybody really liked me, but I never thought that I was good enough. And it all comes from the fact that I was the chubby kid. And when I say that, I was probably one size bigger than all of the kids that were around me, but that's enough to make you different, and different is not okay. Or was not okay in, the world that I grew up in first. So now, as a boudoir photographer, my whole mission in life is to celebrate people's differences and make them feel good and empowered about how they look. And I actually, this is a complete tangent. I'm really good at those. Yeah. When I'm photographing women, I want them to embrace their body. So I will put them into a pose where they feel good. And when someone comes in, I always say, okay, what's your favorite part about yourself? And they immediately tell me what their least favorite part about themselves. And it is always their belly and their inner thighs. And I'm like, okay, great. We're not here to take pictures of that, but it will be in the pictures, but that's not what we're here for. And I'm like, absolutely nobody likes that part of themselves. Like, I've yet to meet someone who's like, yeah, my inner thighs are amazing. Like, I'm just like that. Let's do it. So I recently had a photographer take my boudoir photos, and it had been a long time since they did it. And I would hate for him to hear this. I really would like him to not hear this. But what happened, I paid my invoice and there's some great pictures in there. There's some things that I really like. But what I asked for was pictures that just showed my whole body. Mm-hmm. And I did it so that my clients can see that it's perfectly okay to have a belly and it's perfectly okay to have whatever we've got going on. So your listeners can't hear me. I wear like a size 18, 20, whatever. I'm plus size. And I just wanted pictures that kind of documented it. Yeah. And what I got were really great graduation photos. So kind of like boobs up, just like floating head, face shots. And it reminded, and as I was looking at them, now there are some that I really, really like, but they are not boudoir photos. They are not what I wanted. And I had some very specific social media posts that I wanted to do these pictures for. Sure. Had the messaging in my mind. I knew what I wanted. Had, picked out the exact lingerie, had actually made videos of myself, like dancing it to make the real, like I was full on not going to complain about my belly in the photos, which is, that was going to be the whole point of this post. And so I did not get those. I got graduation photos. And I'm like, it really made me reflect back on, have I done that to somebody else? Have I put my insecurities on to a client? Have I thought she probably doesn't really like her belly, or she probably really doesn't like her bum, or she probably doesn't really like her whatever, and then shot her accordingly as though I'm hiding her away. And so I went back and revisited sessions, and thankfully I don't do that. Yeah. And I am in no way faulting the person who took the photos. Yeah. It was so eye-opening to me that I think everybody is so caught up in what it is that they are worried about their own selves that they assume that people will think that similar things are also flaws about them. And I have done the work to embrace myself. Yeah. I have PCOS. So I have like the PCOS belly. It looks like I'm pregnant. I am not. And I have to be okay with that. That's the body I walk around town with. So I don't know how I got off on this tangent. But
that's such a good example, though. I love that. That was it. That was unapologetic in a nutshell. But also, you got to see, it gave you a chance to reflect. And I love that you did this for many reasons. One, because I think too, when you do that kind of work, there's a authenticity and credibility that comes with showing you're willing to do it too. I'm not just going to ask you to be comfortable in this space. I'm going to invite myself into that too, so I can be credible in that I'm not asking you to do anything I wouldn't ask of myself, and that I believe this about myself as much as I believe this about you. There's a lot to say to that. And also just reflecting on what it takes to prepare for on that side of it. So you can be mindful of that with your people, the time it takes to prepare to get the different, whatever it is you want to wear, the makeup, the hair, all those things. But also too, I think for the photographer you were dealing with, it talks about the societal stuff that is still out there that we make assumptions on. Whereas you're so intentional about asking women, but also the thing that tells us about the societal expectations too, is that when you ask what they like, they automatically first go to what they don't like. And it's like, no, that's not what I asked. I want to know
like
what
you programmed to not say that we like things about ourselves.
Yes. Yes.
It's, and I don't know where that comes from. It's like someone somewhere said, it is not okay to like yourself.
Well, we got the message that we weren't supposed to brag when we were little kids. And I had Sarah T. Moore on here a couple of years ago, and maybe it's been that long. Maybe it's just a year ago. She was a guest, and she literally talks, her newsletter is called the Braggy Brag newsletter. And she's like, we are going to brag, and we're going to redefine what it means to brag, because saying nice things about us and celebrating our accomplishments is not bragging. That's just simply celebrating and acknowledging the good things that we are about, that we behold, that we are doing. And so I think it comes back from that whole don't brag, and little girls, don't be too loud, don't bring attention to yourself. And so, and it's embodied and just enmeshed in our culture so much that we just kind of grow up, it just kind of seeps into us. We're not born that way. And because you see it time and time again with the women you work with.
Well, I, through my community, there is this lady who I have met, and if we're from a different generation, I'm just and I post a lot on my Facebook, and often it's pictures of me or me doing something or me volunteering. And if I'm posting me volunteering, it's because I'm actively recruiting new volunteers. If I'm posting a picture of me, it's like whatever I'm doing is relevant to somebody else. And I do it because I'm not like, oh my gosh, I'm so awesome. It's literally like, okay, so this happened to me, and how this probably has also happened to you, and how did you feel in that moment? And I think that this is how we need to feel about it.
Sure.
And this is
life stuff,
right? I talk a lot, so I type a lot, and it's a whole thing. So this lady who, bless, she says to somebody else who thinks I hung the moon. So she came to me and told me that this conversation had taken place because she did not ever want anybody to think that she had started the conversation. and she said to me, who does she even think she is, putting her face all over the Facebook? And I was like, will you tell her that I think I'm Amy Donovan? That's who I think I am.
It's called Facebook, for God's sakes.
It's right. That was the whole funny thing. And I was like, you can let her know that if she does not want to read what I'm writing, and she does not want to look at me, then there's like this
scroll on by,
move along, or just unfollow me. I don't need her to watch me. And if somebody feels that I'm irritating, then that's fine. But what she doesn't see is that every time I make a post and it's vulnerable, and I'm very vulnerable, and I say all the things that I have in my mind, and I don't filter it out, and I actually type it, and then I post it, and then I read it, because that's how the truth comes out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if she does not like that, then that's on her, because my inbox every time I post something is full of the people that say, I feel this and I'm afraid to talk about it. I feel this, and I am so grateful to know that somebody else is having this experience, or somebody else has felt that way, or, a man has done XYZ to me. I'm so glad that you addressed that these things are happening. I'm so glad to have the support. Like, the messages I receive in response to everything I post doesn't make me popular, doesn't make me raise up my ranking in social status. I still have a very small following, but I am helping those people by talking about what I have been through, and
they wish they could talk about too, and it invites that's example of inviting other people into it. Like, let's talk about this.
Starts the conversation.
Let's start the conversation. Let's show up for each other and support each other through it, and quit living in silence in these things that we've been afraid to bring attention to. Yeah, that's such a great example of that. Thank you so much. So good. And I knew you'd have such good things to say about that. I love that. All right. This aligns with you really well too. And really, I think plays into the shift that you made a few years ago and how you did your photography is the importance of setting and coming back to your why and your values and everything you do. Talk to me about how that has played a role in the shifts in how you are serving your clients.
So I do several different kinds of photos. I take wedding pictures. I do branding work with companies. I love it. But when I show up and I have somebody come through the door and they are trusting me to take boudoir photos of them, and I am sitting with them as they're having their hair and makeup done, and I'm hearing their stories and their whys, and everybody has a very, very different reason for coming. And it's such a personal thing that they finally are able to push the boat out and come and do this. Like, I have people who say, I've been watching your work for 5 years and I finally just got the nerve up. Or I really wanted to do this, but I didn't think my husband would appreciate it. And now I'm going through a divorce and I want these pictures to be for me. And so this lights me up because it creates the safe space that people need to come into to have their pictures taken. And at the end of it, sometimes clients are like, yeah, my pictures are really great, but just the experience was transformative. Like, I feel like one lady, she came in and I've never done this. I did it for like a week and I tried it and I'm not consistent. We could have put that in my list of character attributes when we talked about that earlier. I'm, consistently inconsistent. But so in the video that I took of her when we were done, I said, how did you feel when you came in? And she was like full of trepidation. And when she was leaving, she said, I feel like a goddess. And so that's a word I've never said before. Like, I don't feel like that in any way applies to me. I am very different than that. But that is very something that would be like in her wheelhouse and her vocabulary and what she would say, talking about somebody else. So the fact that she was able to say, I feel like a goddess when she was done her session, and she was somebody who has always struggled with self-image. She struggled with relationships with men. She struggled with relationships with her parents. All justifiably so. She's doing the work. She's going to therapy. She's doing the things. But when she was able to come in here and just let go and let me guide her and relax into a space where she could just feel good about herself. And then when she got to see the pictures, she cried, good tears, thankfully. But just even if she had never seen the pictures, the way she floated out the door was worth the time that she was here. It was worth, all the money. And amazingly, I'm not going to take any credit here, but I had seen her through a series of ridiculous relationships with ridiculous men. And she had her pictures done, and almost very nearly immediately after, like in maybe like terms of weeks, she's met this really great guy, and they are like a solid couple, and he supports everything she does, and he worships the ground that she walks on. So she might have met him anyway, but when I see them together, I'm like, it's her energy changed.
Yeah.
Like, she was able to let him in. Yeah. And I was witnessing her like dating the people, and I was knowing what was going on. This is somebody I know in my everyday life. Yeah. I feel like her energy shift about herself allowed him to come into the energy that she had, and she wasn't the same energy that she was putting out before. Also, those guys were like disasters, and that's what she was attracting. Yeah. But then she loved herself, and she felt great about herself, and now she's got this lovely man. He's really sweet.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That's such a great example of what happens when and we talked about this earlier about how we teach people how to treat us, and we teach people will watch us, and people feel our energy, and they will be drawn according to that energy. But we will also unknowingly, depending on our energy, block people out because of how we're feeling about ourselves, of what we don't consider a possibility versus what we do. So that's such a great example of that. And I know that for you has been such a shift in just that gift. You've always been a giver. You've always been one that's looked after others, but this is a different way of giving, where you're giving them this tool of empowerment and love for themselves. And you're able, because you've gone through your own journey, you're able to offer that to others now. I think that's such a beautiful evolution, because you fell into boudoir photography on accident. I mean, you were saying yes to a client and then had to go home and Google what it was, which I think is the funniest story. And then it became this thing that is such a big part of what you do, and a way that you can really help women embrace themselves, all the parts of them, and feel good about it.
I feel like everybody is meant to do something, and whether that's career-wise or just in their lives.
Yeah.
Like you come into the world and you're just meant to be in certain places. And I feel like if I had not had the experiences that I have had, and if I didn't have the insecurities that I was raised with, I don't think I'd be as good at this.
Yeah.
And like, and I'm like, I am good at this. I can say that out loud. I am really good at what I do.
Yeah.
I'm a great relationship builder. I am great at making people feel comfortable. I am foolish, and it makes people laugh, and it just disarms people. Besides that, I am a really, really, really good photographer. Like that's a God-given gift. I don't take credit for that. I didn't do anything to make that happen. I just, I have looked at doing other jobs and I'm like, no, that's disrespectful to wherever this gift came from. Like I am good at it. Yeah. So I think all of those things combined made me do or allow me to do what I am meant to do. Some people are gifted surgeons. Some people are amazing singers. But you also need to be an amazing singer. You need to have the confidence to stand on stage and say, hey, I can sing. Yeah. Listen, all you people, you're going to listen to me sing this song. And to be a surgeon, you have to be able to say, okay, I have steady hands and I am confident enough that I can open up your belly, rearrange your organs, and then sew you back up again. Do you trust me? Here we go. So I think you really need to just in order to be good at anything, you need to be able to step into your power to do that and say, listen, the worst that can happen is it won't work out. Yeah. And if you do it often enough, eventually it's going to work out because it comes with time and practice. For sure. And also the confidence to, you have to have the confidence to say, I'm going to do it. It's going to work. Yeah. And then I get to give that to somebody else. And I feel like when clients are having their pictures done and when they see them and they have this whole experience, I experience the experience with them. No. And that is the biggest gift. Like when I watch somebody feel differently about themselves in something that I have created, there's nothing better than that. It's so good.
So good. I love that. Oh, so good. All right. Well, this goes nicely into living out of your own expectations versus others. You've had to learn to do that in a variety of ways. And also this goes really hand in hand with communicating boundaries, communicating expectations, but also, not worrying about other people's expectations about you. So talk to me about the expectations journey.
This is huge for me. And I don't think I've ever talked about it. So when I was little, I always said I wanted to be an actress. I wanted to be an RCMP officer, which you're in the US. So an RCMP officer is the Mountie, like the red, yeah, like with the hat, the police officer with the hat. Yeah. Oh yeah. So we call them Mounties. I wanted that red surge. Like I wanted to be a police officer. I wanted to be a helicopter pilot. And so my dad told me I wouldn't pass the physical in order to be a Mountie. I wasn't pretty enough to be an actress, and I couldn't be a helicopter pilot because that wasn't a job for girls. And so I was like, well, thanks, Dad. What to do? Yeah. I went to journalism school, hated the thought that I would spend the rest of my life looking for negative, because that's what journalists do. And they do, they do a great job and they make that decision and that's what they do. But I could not do that. But I was really good at taking pictures. And so I had to tell my father that I was not going to be a teacher like he wanted me to be. I was going to go to journalism school. And he was not pleased. And so I went to journalism school, decided I didn't like sad things, wasn't going to be a journalist, and came home. So that's another disappointment. I had now decided I wasn't going to be the thing that I had, and we were a significant amount of money into getting to that point. And ended up at university to be the teacher that he wanted me to be all along because he was a teacher. And for some reason, teachers want their kids to also be teachers. I don't know where that comes from, but
I know
his expectations that I would be.
Yeah, you see that a lot.
It's a thing. I guess doctors want their kids to also be doctors. It's like maybe because it's safe and you feel safe in what you know. Maybe that's where that comes
or
from.
you see the benefits of it, so you think that must be the benefits for everybody. I don't know.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay. So I registered for university and I trot off and I like move into the dorm and I'm doing my courses to be a teacher. And so every day is an actual slog. I was like, I am actually going to hate this. I do not hate children, but I do not enjoy being in groups of 30 of them. And being responsible for all of the shoe tying and teaching people to use scissors and like running and telling and squeaking and like, I love children,
me either.
But they're sticky. Like, it's just.
No, I got the teacher lecture too when I was like 17 because it would be better for my family. And I'm like, who said I'm having a family? I had one, but it was, But I was the same with you. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it.
My third year of university, again, significant amount of money into this. I had to have a conversation that sounded like, Dad, I will never be a teacher. So I can continue on for another year and a half of this and finish this up. But I'm never going to work as a teacher. So we can continue to throw good money after bad to like get to the point where I am a teacher, but I'm never, ever going to teach. I would like to just be a photographer, please and thank you. Like, this is what I would like to do. And he was not gracious and said, well, you may as well just be a, insert expletive here, basket weaver.
No.
And I'm like, you know what? Okay, sure. I'm going to do it anyway. Because at that point, he told me all the things I couldn't do.
Sure.
And from his perspective, he probably thought he was protecting me. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt on that. I'm not going to say that he was a jerk. I'm going to say those were jobs that were outside anything that he thought he was capable of. Yes. So he then wanted to protect me. Like if my daughter came to me now and said she'd like to be an astronaut, I would be like, I can't do that. But if you think you can, like, let's figure it out. Because I think he was trying to protect me. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
So I needed to then say, I am not going to be a teacher. I am going to be a photographer. And at that point, there was no more deciding I needed to go to school. Like, I wasn't registered for anything else. I was literally like, this is it. Do or die.
This is what I'm doing.
And I am too dang stubborn to let him be right about this. So, yeah. So I did it. I did it. And it was a slog. Like, it takes a long time to build up your clientele. It takes a long time to get good enough that you can charge rates that, you know, you can survive on and raise a family on. And then it was like, you're never going to own a house. You're never going to this, you're never going to that, because you're never going to have stable money. And I'm like, so I own a house. There's 2 cars in the driveway. We have a golden retriever. There's 3 kids. We go on a vacation at least once a year, most years twice. I'm living a pretty good life. Yeah. And now he sees that he was wrong and my stubbornness got me to be right. But I needed to be able to say, okay, we're not talking about this anymore. I'm going to go and do it. And you can either clap for me or you can complain about me, but I don't want to know about it either way. Yeah. And he's the most proud now. Like, he thinks it's the coolest thing. He's pretty pleased that I get to like go and see and do the things. He thinks travel's a waste of money, but he thinks it's cool that I get to go. Yeah. But I needed, in order to, now, would I have been an amazing helicopter pilot? Probably. Yeah. I might have been an amazing cop. I don't know. Yeah. Have no idea. Like, maybe I was meant to do those things, but I did this because I was like, you absolutely do not get to have any more opinions about this, because I need to decide what's right for me, because I only get one kick at this and I am willing to go and do it. And if I had let him say I should be a basket weaver, I probably would be pretty miserable. Yeah. Because I would be teaching somewhere because that's what was expected of me. Yeah. I don't know how baskets get weaved. I have no idea. I've never even investigated it. It wasn't a backup plan.
I know. Oh my gosh. I love that so much. That is such a good example. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's so good. And it goes nicely into accepting the layered aspects of ourselves. all those pieces, all those parts that make up who we are, I really believe, and you and I both have talked about this, and we've done the work to get to the point where, yeah, those are all the parts and pieces and layers of who I am. And I'm good with that. And I'm meeting myself and loving myself right where I'm at. But both of us have had to get there. Talk to me about your journey in getting there, because this is what allows you to show up in these spaces and places you do now, how you do, and empowering other people to feel comfortable in those spaces and places as well.
I think I just needed to be sick enough of being told no, and that I wasn't good enough, and that I couldn't, and realizing the things that I did want to and did not want to, and was not willing to do. It took me a long time to get here, but I don't know that other people get here any faster.
I know.
Except the dang sister, because she knew how to say no she came out of the womb. She knew.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happened. Like, same parents, same upbringing. I don't know how she did it. But I think every single experience that we have molds us and like pushes us in a direction. So we can either choose to have those experiences and let them like make us jaded. And that's easily done because we don't typically remember all of the great experiences. We remember, the guy that yells at you about the parking spot at Costco because you're taking too long, the day before Christmas Eve. You remember that, but you don't remember the nice lady who smiled at you and helped move her cart out of the way to help you get your ground beef into the, into your own cart.
Yeah.
So I think at some point I just needed to look around, be grateful for what I did have, be grateful for what I was good at, decide what I really wanted. And then just, you kind of got to be fearless. Like, no matter what you're deciding, to just move in that direction, because either it will or will not work. So you can sit around and wait forever and worry that it won't work. And I love my husband so much. He's so sweet, but he has to look at everything from 5,000 angles. And he very much is the, well, what if it doesn't work? And I'm very much like, okay, you want to fly. Let's try to construct some wings and go jump off the roof. So different personality wise, but like you need to look at what the positives are and build on those. And then you need to look at what it is that you're capable of. And then you need to look at what it is that you want. And then you like mash it all together in this like big messy thing. And what comes out the other side, I think, is what you're meant to do and how you're meant to do it. But you really need to be brave, and you need to not worry about what anybody else thinks. And everybody has an opinion, and that does not matter. Trust me, there are many opinions about what I do. Less so now, I think, than in the beginning. Or maybe people just stopped telling me because they're not as brave to tell me anymore. Yeah. Like when my stepdad found out that I take boudoir photos, he didn't know what it was. So he had to ask my mom, who then explained it. And he was scandalized. I love him so much. And he was a politician. And he says, but Amy, what if people find out about this? And I was like, I sure hope they do. I pay a lot of money for advertising.
I love that so much. Oh my word.
That was a whole thing. That was a whole thing that I had forgotten about. But just, you need to be able to say, this is my life. I get one shot at this. We're like moving in the direction that I want to move. You are welcome to come with me on this journey or pretend it's not happening. Yeah. But you don't get to decide what it is that I'm going to do. It's like when I hear people say, my husband won't let me, whatever it is. And I'm like, what do you mean let? Like, where's the let coming into this? Yeah. Like,
you're a full-grown adult.
Like, don't do things that are harmful. Like, maybe don't try to construct rings and jump off the roof. Like, don't do, like, maybe they get to have an opinion about that. Yeah. But, like, for the most part, if you're going to do it, and you're going to be happy, and you're going to arrive at the end of your life, you need to, like, just do what you're going to do. And, like, the people around you need to, like, support you. And if they don't, you need to say, I need you to support me.
Yeah.
And at some point, maybe I will get my helicopter's license. I mean, I'm pretty slow now. I'm 43. There's definitely no way. They're not going to give me the red surge in the head at this point. It's not going to happen. But I could probably still learn how to fly a helicopter.
There you go. I love that. Oh my gosh, so good. Thank you so much for that. All right. In summary, in living out feel, finding empowerment, embracing layers, talk to me. And we've hit on this already with the example you used earlier with one of your clients and the evolution you saw with her. But talk to me about how doing this work and living out feel has impacted not only your relationship with yourself, but your relationship with other people.
I think because I have embraced who I am. I have embraced my weird, and I have embraced my body, and I have embraced that I am absolutely not a perfect person. And when I say I'm quick-tempered, I mean it. And it's because that I am. But because I know who I am, I think it makes people comfortable to be who they are around me. And as women, if we don't know who we are, the people around us are not going to be able to trust that they can be themselves around us. And like, we've all met people and we're like, oh, she's really fake. And
she's trying too hard.
She's trying too hard. And so I've witnessed people look at me and say, who does she think she is? It's literally happened to me in a restaurant because I have no problem going in to sit down to eat by myself.
Yeah.
And
which should be totally fine, but it's been over time, it's gotten a little more, but over time it's like, yeah, scandalized. I can't go on a date with myself, but yeah.
Who made this rule? Like, I travel a lot by myself and I enjoy good food. So I'm going to go and sit and eat. And I'm at this restaurant one day and there's these ladies that are like 2 tables away. And so as I'm leaving, I'm wearing like nice boots. I'm not fancy ever. Like, that's not how I roll. But I did have nice boots on and I had like a blazer. I was having a meeting, a collared shirt, and a laptop bag. And as I'm leaving, I hear this woman say, who does she even think she is? And the second lady says, I know, she thinks a lot over herself. And I was like, who on earth are they talking about in such a terrible manner? Like, what? Who are they talking about? Like, someone needs to like tell them to not be mean to this person. And so I am passing the table and I look at them and they all stop eating and they just stare up at me. And I was like, oh,
wow.
They meant me. They're talking about me. And I need to be okay with that and be like, yeah. Because I've done the work to be okay with me, to be confident in public, to eat alone, chocolate blah. What a scandal. She, went to a restaurant and ate salad by herself. Like, oh my goodness. But I think the more confident and comfortable with our own selves that we become. And so I can tell that you are confident and comfortable in your own self. And it makes a supportive, comfy environment where I can let my weird show. I can talk with my hands and let them fly all over. I can make my weird faces and do my thing. But I can also tell stories and be vulnerable. So the more as people and humans and women, we do that, I think it's going to make things a lot easier for everybody because everybody gets to be comfortable in whatever space that they're in.
And feel safe doing so. It's so much about safety for women, about feeling safe. Thank you. That was such a great example. All right, my friend, we are down to the rapid fire. Name 5 activities that nourish you.
Cooking. The actual act of stopping what I'm doing and walking into the kitchen. This is actually probably number 1. Stopping what I'm doing and walking into the kitchen and taking a fresh mug out of the cupboard, even though I might have had 4 on the go already, and laying it on the counter. And I collect the Starbucks mugs from the places that you are. And I think about where I was and just pouring up the coffee. So I drink, I'm using air quotes, a pot of coffee every single day, but I actually don't drink it. It's more about the act of stopping what I'm doing, taking a minute, being mindful, being present, and pouring coffee. And it's like my favorite activity, even if I never take a sip from that cup.
Yeah.
Travel, 100%. I'm going to a convention this weekend that's 3.5 hours from my house in a town that really doesn't have a whole lot going on. But just getting outside my space and going to a different place is as exciting to me as it is to fly across the continent to go somewhere I've never been before.
Yeah.
Travel, absolutely 100%. And I think to grow as a person, you really need to do travel, and you need to learn to travel by yourself.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Traveling with your family and traveling alone are two very different things, and you learn a lot when you travel by yourself.
Yes, you do.
And I think it's so important. And I love traveling with my family, but I also really love traveling alone.
Yeah.
I actually really love washing dishes. In the sink, not with the dishwasher. And it's
really?
It's the same mindful thing.
Yeah,
like
that stopping to slow down piece.
Yeah, I like the bubbles, and then I'm watching. And like, what else do you do where there's such immediate gratification? Like, you put the plate in and it's really dirty, and you like wipe your hand over, you take it out, rinse it off, and it's clean. Like, I never use my dishwasher. My family does. It doesn't occur to me. I'm like, oh no, we'll just put the water in the sink, we'll make the thing. But it's so, you're mindful. And like, your mind has this simple task in front of you, and you just get to tune out while you're doing it. And we get one more. There's so many things. The act of getting ready in the morning. So it's tiny, but like, I don't feel like myself unless I put mascara on. And I currently have my hair in a bun. But when I get ready to like do things, even if I'm sitting around the house, even if all of the work I'm doing, I'm not going to see a single soul, not even a video call, getting up, brushing my teeth, putting moisturizer on, putting on like my 4 makeup products that I wear, like just my basic thing, combing my hair, making sure it looks like I would like it if I went out. And then it's like an act of getting ready. And I work from home most days, unless I'm at the studio. And people say, oh, that's great, you can work in your pajamas. I cannot. Like, I need to be ready. And
it's a mindset thing, I think.
Absolutely. Like, I have to be ready to meet the day. I have to make my bed, and then I can go and face whatever else is happening. And I actually talked about this with a client today, that our day does not go right unless our bed is made. Like, I cannot get in an unmade bed. I don't want to face it when I come home. I make the bed, and it's like the first vote towards today is going to be a good day. I'm going to be productive.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that mindset.
I
love that. That's so good. And I love that you have so many more than 5. I think that's such a great example of knowing yourself, knowing what refreshes you, what you need, what fills you up. I think that's such a great gift, because I talk to so many people that they struggle to get to 5 sometimes. And it's just, and we're all built and wired differently, but I love the fact that you've got a plethora of things to choose from. So thank you for sharing those ones with us. So good. I love that. All right. 5 words on how you want to feel the next 6 months.
Energetic. Like I've contributed. Like I have achieved some goals that I have. Like I am loved by others, but also love them back. So I'm putting out what I'm getting.
Yeah.
Or getting what I'm giving. This is a tough one. And like, I've learned something. And like, this is a very specific thing. I am not handy. Was not raised by handy people.
Me either.
And there are so many, like, you know, when you see a real estate ad and it talks about pride of ownership, when I go home in the daytime, I'm like, or in the evenings, I'm like, nobody would say that about this real estate ad. Like, I have a nice house, but there's like a million little things that need to like, and I keep waiting for Jamie to do them. And then
dang it.
Right? He's not reading my mind the way I would like. I don't want to make him a list. But then when I look at the actual task, I'm like, this is something I'm more than capable of doing my own self.
Yeah.
And my social media is full of women who are capable of building shelves and renovating their house and putting up wallpaper and doing all the things that I think I'm not capable of. I want to take a project and I want to do it. And just in that vein of things, and feel like I accomplished something.
Okay.
Because I'm good at what I'm good at.
Yeah.
But I'm not trying anything new in case I'm not great at it. And
I know that feeling so well. I've got all this stuff. Our friend Rachel Lavin, and we FaceTimed last week in my closet, and she's helping me reorganize my closet. So I've ordered all the things, but I've got to put some of the things together, which I can do, but I'm also like, oh gosh, okay. And so, yeah, so that's my, like, you can do this, you can, if you mess it up, and because Brady and I are not handy either. I was raised by handy parents. His dad, not handy. Mom, more handy. Chooses not to be handy, but can be handy when he wants to be. And that's right. Kind of where we both are. So we've looked at it like, we can do this. We're going to make it something fun we do together, or swear a lot as we're doing it. I don't know, but I know what you mean by that, because it's like, I don't need to ask someone else to do it. I don't need to hire out. I can do this. But yeah, we'll have to compare projects and see how it goes. see what we end up accomplishing. Oh my gosh, I just love that like so much.
The little things that should not be a big thing, but
I know
now that there's so many little things, it feels like a big thing.
Yes, so yes, yeah.
I need to learn to conquer doing the little things, which I'm capable of, but haven't done. So because I don't know that I'm good, I'm afraid that I won't be good, and then I don't do them.
Yeah,
so I need to get better at that.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great one. All right, we can work on that together. Okay. Thank you so much for being with me today. This has been so much fun, as I knew it would be. Let people know where they can find you and follow you. And also, this will be on our resources page, listeners, on embracinglayers.com, but let people know real quick.
So I'm on both Facebook and Instagram under Amy Donovan Boudoir. And you can find me there. Perfect. And also, I have a really sweet little community. It's called Boudoir and Beyond. And my goal for that community is that it is, in fact, a community of women who rise up and support each other and help each other rise while they're doing it.
Yeah. And that's on Facebook, right?
Facebook, yes.
Yes. Okay, perfect. All right. Thanks so much for being with me today. Ladies, I hope you feel emboldened by this conversation. I hope it makes you stop and think about your own journey. Where is it that you need to communicate some healthy boundaries with some family or friends? Are you living out of your own expectations, or is it time to communicate those as well and start living out of alignment with yourself? Are you able to show up unapologetically for yourself? Because that's then going to enable you to show up unapologetically for others and help them to be their best, most authentic, healthiest selves, safest selves with you. And Amy has spoken to all of that today, but I want to challenge you on that this week. Take good care of yourselves this week. Know you are valuable, not because of what you do, but because of who you are, and have a great rest of your day. Thanks so much for joining us. Hello, Melissa Crook here. Thank you so much for joining us on the Feel podcast today, Finding Empowerment, Embracing Layers. I hope you found today's framework and resources supportive and informative. To learn more about all that we offer here at the Embracing Layers Network, visit embracinglayers.com. You can go to our contact form to schedule me as a speaker for your next conference, workshop, or seminar. You can go to our book page to order our book that Jessica Garrison, our wonderful and talented writer and author, authored with my support. and engage with this framework in written form with your journal or in a book club with other women, inviting them on this journey with you. You can look at our resources page for all of the helpful and insightful resources our guests offer and share. You can find the schedule for our weekly Together We Feel women's panel conversations that we're holding each Monday on our YouTube channel. And you can find the links to all the spaces and places you can follow, engage with us on social media, and join our engagements that are happening on our Substack site. There is also a donation page where you can donate to support our work to ensure we can continue to bring you these incredible guests, conversations, and support. Thanks again for joining me this week. Share with your friends and give us a review on your favorite listening platform. Your feedback helps us ensure we're bringing you the content that will best support you in having an empowered, embracing layers journey. Take good care, and thanks for giving us some of your valuable time today. We truly appreciate you so deeply.